Hello, welcome back to Breakfast Central. Flight operations have been disrupted at major Nigerian airports following an industrial action by aviation unions over allegations that the airline was frustrating workers' unionization and withholding ticket sales charges owed to Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. Passengers were left stranded in Lagos and Abuja on Tuesday as members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and the Airport Transport Services Senior Association of Nigeria picketed airline operations.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has appealed to the unions to suspend the action pending the return of the Aviation Minister, Festus Keyamo, who says it has been working to resolve the dispute. The NCAA also says aviation safety remains uncompromised, while United Nigeria Airlines has suspended operations and Air Peace reported significant disruptions after access to some airport terminals was blocked. The unions, however, insist their demands must be addressed, raising fresh questions about labor rights, regulatory obligations, and the impact of industrial inputs on Nigeria's already fragile aviation sector.
Joining us for this conversation is publishing CEO of Aviators Africa, Mr. Toni Ukachukwu, joins us live in the studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
An aviation expert that you are, and now you've seen this entire story developing. Yesterday, we kept hearing, in short, those who were close to friends and family members kept reporting back to them that, guess where I am? I'm still stuck. Nothing is happening. What could lead to an issue of this magnitude, therefore affecting flight operations? What's the background, basically?
Thank you very much. So basically, the background started with the ticket sales charge that airlines refused owing Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Have been owing them for quite a while. Okay, so there have been arguments.
Do consumers, do we pay for that charge?
Yes.
Anytime we buy it?
Yes. I mean, unfortunately, the consumers are, now the passengers are always bearing the brunt of whatever issues happens in the aviation, because the passengers pay upfront. You know, the ticket sales charge is embedded in your ticket. Every ticket you buy, international flight is about $100. Local flight is about $20 or thereabout. I don't know the figures now. No, it's 2,000 naira for fun, domestic. You know, so airlines are owed. Airlines owe these monies to NCAA. They are supposed to collect from passenger on behalf of NCAA. Now, remittance has now been the issue. So they collect and they chop it, or they collect and use it for their personal. No, so this is not your money. So that's the background, okay? And then, of course, there are issues with, if you don't pay us, the regulators, how do we regulate you properly? You know, this is safety, okay? But this dragged. And then, of course, the other part of the story is that Air Peace doesn't want people to unionize, their workers to unionize. So it now came up with different issues. Then NAMA came in that NCA is taking too much money from the TSC, 56%, that they do more work. And then the whole thing just went downhill from there.
Wow. So where are we at the moment? Has the situation been resolved? Will passengers be able to travel without impediments today? And what's going to end this?
It's a developing story. So the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority have called on the union members to sheath their sword, and that airlines have started to pay. So we hear, and then hopefully today and the coming days, things should come back to normalcy.
But why did we have to wait for it to get to this extent where people are now striking before they made the remittances, and now they're promising that the airlines will start to pay from today? Why did we have to wait for it to get to this extent?
So that's the issue. So I think it's a systematic, fundamental issue with the industry. There should be a mechanism where NC just gets their money, you know, from source. You know, so a passenger having to pay the airline, and the airline collects on behalf of NCA and then decides whether I should pay or not to pay is what is causing the issue. You know, so it should be separated where, you know, NCA collects their money upfront. This issue wouldn't have arisen. And so that's the challenge. But again, there should be some responsibility on the part of airlines to pay what they are holding on behalf of the regulator. That is not their money. It's simple. You can't collect my money, collect monies on behalf of me, and you keep it for your own operations.
That's stealing.
Exactly. It's like an agent collecting money on behalf of the landlord and chopping the money.
Exactly.
Plus their own fees, agent fees at the rent.
But let's talk about something unprecedented that happened yesterday. The aircraft runway and the airside are very highly restrictive and sensitive areas in aviation. I mean, just playing around there could lead to charges of terrorism. And then we saw, can we have that image up, please? An airpiece bus that is used to convey passengers park on the runway. What could have led to this? What sort of message is the company sending? I mean, your reputation is at stake if you're engaging in this sort of thing. I had to take the NCAA to get a towing van to remove it from its location. Michael Achimugu, the spokesperson for NCAA, said the driver will be identified and prosecuted. I think this is beyond the driver. It's an indictment on airpiece.
Absolutely. I think it's impunity at the highest level. I mean, aviation is safety. Nobody should have any issue doing this kind of stuff on the ramp. It's unacceptable. And it's, like I said, is the high point of impunity, just like the Form 1 incident where an individual wants to stop an aircraft. And then now we are seeing this. That is what happens when you don't have, there are no consequences to actions. Stuff like this keep happening. But when there are clear deterrents, people will know their bounds. You don't do anything on the air side because it's safety area, And so, yes, I think that goes beyond the driver because the driver did not go there as himself. He was carrying the brand and logo of Airpeace. So now it's a brand issue, And I don't think any driver, by all their senses, will drive all the way to go and block airlines. Because your airline has been picketed does not mean you stop the taxiway for other airline operations.
I mean, you see that right? How did we descend from garage behavior to the airport?
Is that bad? I mean, if this could happen, you start to wonder whether what comedians have said can actually happen in the future, where you'll be on air and people will be telling you, gala, buy this, buy that, buy sausage. You'll be afraid because it starts from now, you see what's going on. And the Kwamwon incident, that one man thought he was Superman. He could say he could hold a plane. So, I think the minister has a lot to deal with. But
so beyond even fixing airports, the aesthetics of it, how do we fix the mentality and the human beings that are operating this? Because we're building a world-class airport. The renovation is massive. It's ongoing, and they're trying to streamline operations. You tap and go with your passport. Reduce wait time, which are commendable. But the human beings that can allow this sort of things to happen.
World-class mentality.
Do they have a world-class mentality?
So I give it to aviation. Aviation is a global sector. So there's no like Nigeria aviation, South Africa aviation, or American aviation. It's global standards, okay? And it prides itself with trainings and retrainings of every cadre in the aviation spectrum. However, the issue is, are these people trained? Do you have safety officers trained on how to do HSE on the ramp, for them to know their limits and their bounds, or you just employ any kind of person and don't do the training and then get certified? Because every role in the aviation industry the person has to be trained and certified for that role. So you can know the understanding and how global best practices are obtainable. So those are the issues. So it now boils down to training and how airlines, train their staff.
Okay, so we're expecting a meeting with the stakeholders and the minister on Thursday. What do you think would be some of the agenda that should be discussed at the meeting? How do you think, what actions, actionable steps should be taken from the meeting after the meeting?
I think even before the meeting, I think the ministry's silence is very loud. This has been ongoing. It's something that should have been nipped in the bud before now. For example, NAMA and NCA are the House of Reps Committee on Aviation fighting over who takes the chunk of this TSC that passengers are paying in the first place. So it's something that we should have resolved internally, and down there's breakdown of law and order. Passengers are affected. It shouldn't have gotten to this extent. Airlines pay the money you're collecting on behalf of NCA, period. And
then how do we ensure that going forward this is something that happens? Where
so I think
from the source, maybe.
Yeah, so they need to build a mechanism. It's just that you can't just, NCA cannot just, by fear say, okay, I start collecting my money. Everything is by act of parliament, So they have to kind of review the act that says NCA collect on behalf of these other agencies.
Or they put penalties for airlines that do not remit, hefty penalties.
No, they're actually penalties. For example, if as a regulator, which NCA is, says, if you don't pay me, I don't offer you the services, there are essential safety office services that the Nigeria Civil Aviation offers the airlines. Okay, so if you don't do it, I withdraw it. So NCA has already sent them a letter, look, no pay, no service. But unfortunately, they were asked to withdraw that letter. So now NCA cannot enforce its mandate to say, look, as an airline, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to offer you services.
Who asked them to withdraw the letter?
Well, it became political. Okay, so NCA had to pull back. That's why I wrote in one of the pieces that in the aviation, one of our chat rooms, that we should be careful not to build strong men in the aviation industry rather than strong institutions. So when individuals start beginning to think they are bigger than the system, then there's a problem.
And we see that across spheres of industries where one person is dominating and then it becomes political. But let me go back to the airpiece issue.
Yeah.
Why is there a reason why you don't want your staff to be part of a union? Is there any what could be the reason? And again, looking at the industry, does the industry allow a particular airline to stop its members from associating with a body?
No. It's part of the labor laws. I mean, it's okay for anybody to unionize, However, some airlines would not want their members or their staff to join the union because there might be issues with conditions of service. So
of service from their part.
Yes.
So they don't want you to
Yes,
fight.
exactly. So that is the core issue. Because if you, as an airline, you are above board, you shouldn't have a problem with your staff being part of a union. It's enshrined by law.
We also want to know why, unions. Nigerians are struggling. We've worked very hard to earn what we earn. And then you buy a pricey ticket and you're not allowed to make your way into the airport because the union is striking, which is no fault of ours. Even the money you are fighting for, it's the people, it's the ordinary Nigerians that paid that money for it to be remitted to you. So the airport is not the personal property of the union members. So why did they always make the consumers bear the brunt? Are there no other creative ways of picketing or letting their grouses known?
So I agree with you. This is not the way to go. I agree about. I'm for unionism, but I'm not about the way and manner they went about it to disrupt, activities at the airport. But sometimes there are precedences to how things happen. When there's an action, always there is a consequence. Though I don't agree, but it was reported that AP's chairman was daring the union that they cannot do anything, they cannot picket them, they can, and the union started to show, okay, which is why they're saying, why did you target APs? It's supposed to be the all the airlines that are owing. But they say they are starting with APs and then they're going to picket other airlines. But, it was the chairman that came out to say, I dare the union to picket them. So some of this conversation is not should be heard. You are the receiving end as an airline, you are owing, and then you're also coming out to say you are daring people. What message are you sending out there? So the union shouldn't have gone about it that way. I totally agree. But there was an issue where all the parties were called to a round table and some of the concerned parties didn't show up. Okay. So it will have been resolved. But some parties didn't show up.
Okay, so now part of the issue is 5% ticket sales.
Yes.
The percentage paid by passengers on every ticket, but from the airlines. Airpeace has been accused of having the highest share of remittance to the tune of, I think, 15 billion naira.
Yep.
But Airpeace has denied this allegation. Airpeace says that they have remitted the 5% to the TSC and 5% TSC to the NCA, and they are questioning why their operations have been singled out. So if NCAA is saying that Airpeace hasn't paid, Airpeace saying they have remitted, who is telling the truth?
Which is why everything is shrouded in secrecy. There should be some kind of transparent act and how these figures and everything is published so that everybody as a stakeholder, even the passenger, should know. so that you make informed decision which airline you go fly. Exactly. You know, so that
they won't picket me. If I'm buying a ticket, I'll ask them, "Are you show me the alert to NCAA and you pay the 5%?"
It's only fair that Airpeace has the biggest amount because it's the biggest airline. But them arguing that they've started paying, which is a developing story that SSA airlines have started to pay. So now we don't know at what point, which is this stuff should be published so that people can actually know where the merit of the matter is.
Well, I mean, I know this is a bit out of our league in terms of conversation that we're having now, but is there any hope that, you know, we're going to see Nigerian Air come back or happen? Because in all of this, these are individuals who are building businesses. Airpeace, of course, is individual building businesses. Dangote, on the other hand, is an individual. Doesn't mean that anything government institution is not going to ever work.
In our environment, it will be very difficult for any government thing to work. But however, I mean, it's not about government things to work.
But Ethiopia,
if you have, yes, it's government owned but privately run. You know, so it's just like your Ibom Air. It's 100% Ibom, Akwa Ibom owned, but they run it independently of the no interference. The issue starts when there begins to be some political interference, and the aviation sector is always a culprit for it. So the economics are right for we to have a national carrier. We have the market, we have the geographical location, we have the hub. Everything works for us when you do the economics. However, it's the political will and, you know, for people to just be transparent and allow things to work the way they're supposed to work systematically.
All right, just to, I want to refer to Airpeace. Airpeace had put out a statement, a press statement. They had said regarding the temporary disruption to flight operations following ongoing industrial action at airports. They said, we wish to inform our esteemed passengers and the general flying public of temporary disruptions to our ongoing flight operations arising from the picketing of our airline and the ongoing industrial action by members of the NLC, the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, ATSAN, and the Trade Union Congress. It says that, I'm going to scroll down. It apologized to all the affected passengers and said that, they are closely monitoring developments and will provide further updates where necessary. Now, is there also
They didn't mention that bus incident. Conveniently left it out.
I'm checking to see if there was anything of the sort. They said, no, they didn't mention anything about that.
Of course.
However, Airpeace is arguing that why they're asking, it's a question I asked and I want to ask again, why was Airpeace particularly singled out? Because their argument is beyond them saying that they've paid. They're saying that all the other airlines, to some measures, were able to run, that the Ibom Air and all the other airlines were also able to fly. So why was their airline singled out? This is not the first time we've heard Airpeace, complaining. And many people have argued that there's some measure of politics involved in what is happening. Do you perhaps think that there's any element of truth to those who argue that there's a measure of politics targeted at Airpeace?
So from an objective standpoint, it should be wrong that it's always Airpeace that's always in the news. I know for a fact that the sector, which is the Ministry of Aviation and by far Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, has supported that airline, if I dare say, more than any airline in Nigeria. So I don't think there's any politics in the negative to bring it down. However, I think there needs to be some introspection on the part of Airpeace. What are the underlying issues that need resolving? Is this unionism? Solve it. Are you owing? Pay it. Be above board so that when you now come out to say there's politics or people are about you or anything, people can now stand for you. The passengers will say, do you have on-time performance? The passengers will stand, ultimately, is the passenger. If I'm a passenger, I fly an airline, they're always on time, their customer service is top-notch, I will stand for that airline.
Who comes to equity must come with
Exactly. So that is the case.
Okay, and then for passengers, because unfortunately, like you've mentioned earlier, we have to bear the brunt, and Mega had made reference to this. What remedy is there for me as a passenger that has no business in the fight of these two elephants? I come to the airline. Are there possibilities that passengers can actually get some form of compensation when the airlines cancel because
they
of
have
whatever
businesses
issue?
and other
Because
things.
I'm seeing comments. Somebody says, I have a flight by 2:30 p.m. today and I have to be somewhere early tomorrow. Please, will this be resolved today? There's someone else who responded, because I'm in the comment section. Someone else is saying, you people should resolve this ASAP. This is so unfair. There are people that have, this one says, there are people having connecting flights. You knew this was going to happen, yet you couldn't notify us on time. Some of us traveled from our destinations to Lagos just to catch our connecting flights this morning, only to be left stranded. And I shudder to imagine those who had international flights that they needed to catch, but unfortunately, as a result of this, they can't meet up. So what remedy is there for the consumer, for the passenger, who has to bear the brunt of this fight between the airlines and NCAA, a fight that doesn't concern us at all?
So there is the consumer right is enshrined in the Consumer Protection of Act 19 of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations, where if there is a delay, cancellation, the benefits are outlined. However, I also know, this is also part of awareness, most passengers don't know their rights when it comes to cancellation, delays, and and all that. So yes, passengers have right to some compensation of some sort, except the airline wants to now go under force majeure.
I wanted to say they call it an act of God.
So
but this one is not an act of
It's act
God.
of human being that drove that bus to the wrong way.
This one not concerned God. God does not have-
Yes.
Not breeze or tornado that moves the bus.
A human being, a driver of particular concern.
So yes, passengers are actually protected under the law, under consumer protection, and that is overseen by NCA. And I must give kudos to the Nigeria Civil Aviation Directorate of Consumer Protection and Public Relations. They've been doing a whole lot of work with consumer compensation and passenger concerns, in recent times, which is very commendable. So to answer your question, yes, passengers have the right, has some kind of compensation when it comes to cancellation, delays, and all that.
Right, and I really wish more passengers will enforce it, because by the time airlines know that they have a lot of damages to pay, compensation to pay, maybe we'll make a lot of them sit up. A particular airline delayed my flight. It was supposed to be a 12 o'clock flight. I was in Asaba, and they delayed my flight. I did not fly till 9 p.m. And even that 9 p.m. is with plenty, I beg.
For me, what I do is, once I experience something like that, I just cancel you forever and ever, even a free ticket. I won't board the airline. And that airline is the airline of particular concern, but I won't mention.
Okay. So that's what I want airlines to be doing, hold the airlines to account. But Nigerians are always very easy to forgive. An airline will delay you, you still go and buy that airline, and go and buy that airline. I haven't bought
that ticket since that happened.
They should hold these airlines to account so that they be able to sit up, because they also, you bear the brunt. So have the responsibility of also punishing the airline to say, I can't give you my money.
Okay, so for Nigerians who do not know, if you need to make a complaint, on X, there's somebody who will respond to you quickly. He's the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at NCAA, Civil Aviation. His name is Michael Achimugu. Tweet at Michael Achimugu with your complaints and with your evidence.
And they also have desks at every airport. The Consumer Protection has desks at every airport across the country.
Oh, yes.
And they are very responsive.
Now, what role does the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace have to play in resolving this crisis and also preventing it from happening again? And I also think, maybe Mr. Keyamo, in 3 years, he's been Minister of 3 years, he should drop that aerospace nomenclature, because we're not playing at that level yet. Let's first deal with this one, that we're aviation first, and leave aerospace for the future.
There's nothing wrong with being ambitious.
Do we have astronauts? Maybe Olive will be our first astronaut.
Aerospace.
You want gas to finish me there?
True.
What do you think about his role? What role do you think he has to play in this?
I mean,
he has a lot. He has a lot.
Yes. I mean, this role, is call all the parties concerned and resolve it internally. This can be resolved easily, because in the aviation is not an anyhow sector. There are laws, there are acts of parliament. So let's go back to the books. What does the book say? It's even easy for Keyamo to solve. What does the book say? Airline, how are you supposed to pay this TSC? Are you supposed to owe it? If you owe it, then we'll withdraw your services. So when you're serious as an airline, you come back to operations. It's very easy. But we try to go away from the issues and begin to politicize issues rather than doing
or
the
one
right
big
thing.
man will now call him, please step down. You can't do this to us. I know somebody.
Which has been the case in some instances, unfortunately.
All right. We'll wait. I think, you have...
Just my final question. What do you make of Nigerian flights, direct flights to Canada, great milestone, great achievement.
Yes, it is. Part of the challenges that we have in Nigeria is we have bilateral air service agreement that we've signed with countries, all right, about 70-something of them. Yeah. But if you sign bilateral agreement and you don't have the power of reciprocity, you are the losing end.
You are only giving advantage.
Yeah, so if we sign with Air Canada now, Air Canada, maybe you have 12 traffic rights to fly into Nigeria. How many airlines in Nigeria can fly to Canada? So Canada will just come here and be carrying all our people going about.
And that reminds me, and if Air Canada is coming to Nigeria, we have still not solved the issue of the flights that Air Canada saw in Canada that belongs to Nigeria. Remember that flight that they seized?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So, so Qatar will come, Emirates will come. They all have bilateral agreements signed with us, but we are not able to reciprocate. So we are the receiving end, which is why some countries do what we call protectionism. They don't want people to just come and be carried, because Nigeria is a huge market. We have just not, as a country, organized ourselves well. We travel a lot. We have the numbers. We're well positioned on the map. 6 hours, equidistance from Europe, Dubai, Middle East, and the South. God don't bless us, but unfortunately, the human beings don't want to look.
Now, finally, before we let you go, I know we said finally before, we cannot have this conversation with an aviation expert without talking about the recent safety incidents where, our plane, they just hear boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Yes. Enugu Airlines, it's been in operations for less than a year and has had 2 incidences of, overshooting the runway, and thank God it's not been a worse type of situation, and it's not been fatal. Is there any cause for concern? And what do you make of state governments looking at it like the new in thing to do, following IBOM as success in the aviation sector?
So incidences.
And also, is there any preliminary report on that, on the latest incident that happened in Benin?
Thank you. So incidences and accidents will always happen in the aviation industry. However, it's how are we making sure that there is zero tolerance to safety? But incidences will always happen. That is guaranteed. So what happened with Enugu Air is normal incidents. Anything can happen with an airline. However, there should be a recommendation, a safety recommendation from Nigeria Civil Aviation Bureau of this is what caused this. How do we, make sure that it doesn't happen again? Yes, so there is an ongoing investigation. Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau is supposed to have a 30-day window to bring a preliminary report on what happened with Enugu Air. So I don't think that it's up to 30 days yet. Okay. So after that preliminary report, we will know what happened with Enugu Air. So that's with the airlines. Then again, from that report, to be able to know what happened, was it aquaplaning? Was it the runway? Was it the air traffic control? Was it weather? Then, of course, those recommendations can now be taken further so that it doesn't happen again. Yes, to avoid such occurrence.
Okay, I want us.
Before you ring that bell.
I have good news.
You want to milk the aviation experts?
I want to.
Yeah, quick. Before I wrap up with
Since you just hear boom.
Boom, boom.
We thank God it wasn't fatal. The helicopter that turned to Bolekaja, that landed and passengers came down on the express road. I don't know if
it wasn't in a helicopter.
It was private jet. Ogwashukwu, yes.
That landed on the
third road, yes.
It just landed. So you see what I've been saying? You see what I've been saying, that we are getting close.
Benga, did you hear what he said it happened?
Because people of Ogwashukwu were just sleeping. I
Ogwashukwu,
he was not
a place of particular concern.
I said, Benga did not hear this. If not, I would have not.
Since the last time he came, look at the incidents we've documented. And it wasn't so long ago.
Yeah.
That's happened in the aviation sector. It's interesting.
Okay, I want to wrap up with good news. Good news. As we wrap up the conversation on the aviation sector, there is a new introduction. It is called the Radio Frequency Identification Tag, that is RFID tag, bag tagging to ensure that your bags don't get missing. Now, this automation technology means that air passengers can track the location of their bags from check-in to arrival at destination real time. And this is a tweet that was put out by Michael Achimugu. He says, we are going to resolve the issue of misrouted bags, short-landed bags, etc. Now, this is not novel globally, but this is coming to Nigeria for the first time. and its proper implementation would guarantee greater efficiency in baggage handling, complaints resolution, and passenger satisfaction. So when we are traveling to Abuja for the NESG, it's not the one that will be in Abuja, then they'll say, your bag is still in Lagos, or your bag is on the way to Akwa Ibom. So great news, well done. Let's give a round of applause to them. Now, when they bring in,
They should also. They should also.
Let's try and get Michael.
So,
Michael, you're watching.
They should also give this technology, this RFID technology, to Royal Air Maroc. They are very notorious for missing people's bags.
We wouldn't stop there.
I haven't flown.
We are brothers keepers. Let's give them the advice.
Right to it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Always nice having you dissect issues concerning the aviation sector.